5. These are accepted. 3, 4. How many of y'all say 4?
Marcus, hit one of the lights. Hit one of the lights.
3.
Hit one of the lights. 1.
Someone said 6. Who thinks it's 6? 1. The answer is 2. The answer is 2. You completed 2 core courses in your freshman year. English part 1 and 2, that's 1 of English. Math, algebra, part 1 and 2, A and B, that's the second one. That's 2. The computer science class is not a core course. Admin is not a core course. Architecture design is not a core course. Your sport is not a core course. So remember, you need 16. If you divide 16 by 4, what's that? 4, right? You need an average of 4 per year. If you just got 2 in your freshman year, what's happening?
You're behind.
You're behind. You're behind right now already. Okay, and your GPA, all of your high school GPA right here, you always say would be probably pretty good, right? 4 A's, couple C's, D's, what's that? Maybe a 3.0?
No. That's like 2 something.
Based on the core classes you completed, you got a 1.5.
Wow.
Because you're only taking these 2 classes right here, English and algebra, CD, 1.5. All right, let's say, now we're going to go on to your sophomore year. Okay? How many core you have completed here? Biosciences does count.
3.
4.5, 5, 1. That's
Marcus.
1.
Switch lights. Switch lights.
That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. That's half. That's 0.5. That's 0.5. Okay, so for the 2 terms
Still
that
ain't
you
working.
had, you have 4.5 and 2. That's 6.5, right? Again, if you got 16, half of that is 8. You're still behind, right? Okay, so what I want you all to understand is, if you had a bad freshman year, or if you didn't get a lot of core courses done in your freshman year, now you're at a place where you're halfway done and you have less than half. You have to really get on your hump. So my question to you would be, if you were in this situation, what would you do? Summer school, for sure, right? Huh? Evening school. What else? Y'all heard of Primavera? Online. Pinnacle, online stuff. All of those are options. The other thing I'd be thinking about, because, check this out, if you have all these grades, you got a 2.21 GPA, what's that put you on that scale? Let's look back to that scale. If you have a 2.21 GPA, you need a 970 SAT. So just think, if you bump your GPA up to a 275, 720. So we talked last time, I asked you how many of y'all don't like to take tests, and about half the room raised their hand. The higher your grade point average in these core classes, in your main classes, English, math, science, the less your test score has to be. If you have test anxiety, some people have learning disabilities and things like that, the higher you bump your GPA up, which, man, you can bump your GPA up by just talking to your teacher after every class. I promise you, you sit in these first 2 rows and act like you care and talk to your teacher after every class, guaranteed at least 1 grade point higher. If you got a C, that's going to be a B. If you have a B, that's going to be an A. Y'all with me?
Sure.
This is a strategy that you can use to attack this issue right here if you don't like tests. Marcus might say one of his issues was test anxiety. Man, here's an opportunity to improve. So what I'm trying to do is give you all a visual, because I'm a visual learner, I'm a visual person, of the fact that the better your grade point average is, which means spend a little bit more time on your homework, watch a little bit less TV, hang out a little bit less on the weekend, get your GPA bumped up, talk to your teacher at the beginning of the class. If you make it clear to your teachers that you're there to learn and that you have a goal in front of yourself, guaranteed they will work with you. So the goal is that you all will take this information, and if you have this goal and this vision, like if you don't want to go play college ball in your sport, then to hell with all this. You don't need to be worried about all these numbers and stuff. I would still say you need your high school diploma, The higher your GPA is, the more colleges you have an opportunity to go to, and all those types of things, scholarship money and all the rest of that stuff. But if you're interested in playing your sport at the next level, you have to be in tune with this and how the decisions that you're making right now in your classes are impacting you. That makes sense? Okay. Improving your GPA. If you have a D in a class, I think on the previous chart we had a D. If you have a D in bioscience and you repeat a semester of the D and get an A, guess what it does? It wipes off that D and it replaces it with the A. That boosts your GPA immediately. There's a lot of different tricks to the trade once you start to get behind a little bit. If you do, obviously my best advice is don't get behind, right? What resources do you have to rely on? Someone might say, I'm trying really hard, but all I can get is C's. What resources do you have? Tutoring. What resources do you have in the community? What resources do you have in your church? There's a bunch of different areas where you can get support. What commitment are you willing to make to yourself to take advantage of your education? It's something that everybody personally needs to deal with and work through. What questions? Do y'all have any questions about this NCAA piece?
Ask your question if you guys got one.
Community who are trying to hire athletes. Former athletes who just got done playing at ASU, who are going through the process of getting a job that they want to. I had a dude up there who was a 4-year NFL player, Andrew Walter, who set a bunch of passing records at ASU and all that stuff. And he said the worst year of his life was the year after he finished playing football. You know what his schedule looked like? He said his schedule looked like wake up at 10 o'clock every day. Y'all like to wake up at 10? I know some of y'all like to sleep. Wake up at 10 o'clock, you get on the sticks, on the little Madden sticks or whatever, on the joystick, crack a beer open at noon. That's what he said his life was. Some people be like, damn, that's the life. He said that was the worst year of his life because he's goal-oriented, he's motivated, he's a go-getter, and he didn't have nothing to do. Nor did he have the skill set, even as a former pro athlete, to go out and get a job. He went back and got his master's in business administration. It's called an MBA. That's what he needed to do after his pro career was over with. So these things all tie in to this life you're living right now as far as this education piece is concerned. Here's the last piece I'll leave you with. And then if there's any other questions. Okay. Admissions for university. This goes back to the GPA. Every school is different as far as admissions is concerned. Outside of the school down south in Tucson, because I don't want to hear that name, what kind of colleges are y'all interested in going to?
Michigan.
Michigan, Oregon, Morehouse. Ooh.
Alabama.
Alabama.
Roll Tide.
What about ASU? Dang. All right. Okay, so every don't be saying that. Every school that you mentioned has a different admissions criteria. You got me? Every school that you guys mentioned has a different admissions criteria.
Quietly,
The
fellas.
grade point average and the standardized test score and everything is different. Some schools require you to write a 10-page essay about your life. Other schools just require you to apply online. Fill out an application and get because they're trying to make money. Okay, so the higher your grade point average and your test scores are, the more options you have. There might be a school, listen up, because I'm almost done here, but I just want y'all to have this information. There may be a school that would like to recruit you in your sport, but because your GPA is not high enough, they cannot give you a scholarship. They got a scholarship for you. Imagine that. Someone said, like Marcus said, school calling them saying, hey man, we want you to come. We have a scholarship for you, and you can't take advantage of it because your grades aren't in order. That's a bad feeling. If you have a list of top schools that you like, research their admissions pages. You can go onto the web. Man, this little box over here is wild. What information it can provide you. Type the school in, go to their admissions page, and it will tell you exactly what you need. Grade point, standardized test score, 2 essays, references, whatever you need, it'll tell you. But if you're not doing that kind of stuff, and I think that's some of what Coach Chris has in mind in terms of getting you guys down the path where you're doing some more of this type of stuff, you need to start doing that. I'm someone who has walked in your shoes. I'm someone who has played at the level that many of y'all say that you want to play in. So has Marcus. So you need to take advantage of us as resources. Even if you don't have a question right now today, If something comes up over the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, there should be no one in this room who can say that they were uneducated about this process. There should be no one in this room who says, I didn't know. There should not be one. Because you have the best resources you can possibly get connected with in front of you. And our goal is to bring in individuals who also have walked in your shoes or are currently walking in your shoes as student athletes, both males and females, to give you a little bit about their perspective and their insight of their life. Folks, if you don't have a dream, if you don't have a vision for where you're headed wherever the wind blows. So what we're trying to do is to get you to be inspired about visualizing yourself in a productive, positive space that can really help you as an adult be highly successful. Be highly successful. That's all we're doing here. We are not getting paid one dime for this. Not a dime, not a penny, not nothing. I get nothing out of this but the gratification of helping young people create something for themselves that's positive. That's the only reason I'm here. There's a lot of things at the workhouses I could be doing that would be making progress there. What you got in closing?
I mean, real quick, Gene covered a lot of great points, and there's nobody else that I've ever met who can cover this stuff more interactive than he can. I mean, he's a good person to listen to. Let me tell you, I'm going to be coming here for the next few weeks. I'm going to be bringing some of our student athletes along with me, and then a couple representatives who work on campus as administrators as well. And then they're going to get to tell their story, and we're going to talk about certain topics. So today, I'm going to just tell my story real quick. I told you one already, but I'm going to tell you where I'm from, what I've been through, and what I'm about. I grew up in Toronto. It's a city. Regardless of Canada or not, I was in the city. There was a lot of different things going on. I grew up with my mom and my brother. My brother and I had different fathers. His father was murdered when he was 7, so my mom raised my brother and myself. My dad was around, but I didn't live with him at the time. My mother had a hard life as well. She had some issues going on in home with her family. She was kicked out at 15 and had to raise herself. So she didn't graduate high school. She was working any odd job she could because she didn't really have any, education to get a job. So she was trying to raise us at the same time, working all day. My brother was involved he wasn't on drugs. I mean, he smoked weed. It wasn't a bad drug, but it got him into a lot of trouble. He never went to school. He was, they don't have gangs like they do out here, but he was part of a clique, and he was involved in that life pretty seriously. When I started to get kind of a little bit older and learning about that lifestyle, I got caught up in it just a little bit, but not like some people are. My brother was caught up in it. He lived and died out on the streets. He made a lot of money too, selling dope. And I looked up to him for that just because of money and material things. I remember this one morning, my mom was kind of caught up in it too because she had no choice. She was like, hey, he's got the money. How am I going to make ends meet? I got to start doing, what my son's doing. So that wasn't a good influence at all. And I started getting involved. One morning, I was sleeping in my mom's bedroom with her. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment. My brother sometimes slept on the couch if he was home. He was 21 at the time, and about 5 in the morning, all you hear is a big boom. Someone kicked in our door and came in our living room, and I was in the room, so my mom said, get under the bed, don't come out. And all you hear was pop, pop, pop. My brother got shot on the couch. All because of what he was involved in. If he wasn't involved in any of that, nothing would have happened. And I remember I couldn't leave the room and see what was going on because I would have put myself in danger. My mother would have put herself in danger. So I'm in that room for literally about 30 minutes, just like, dang, what happened? What's going on? The brother's out there dying. I have no idea who did this to him. So it was a terrible feeling. So that's a little bit about what happened. When that happened, 2 months later, they figured out my brother was involved in this big-time drug, distribution. My mom was also involved in it. She had went to jail. Luckily, my father was around at the time. I was shipped out to live with my dad, and I moved into a very small town. Different lifestyle, different people. I hated it at first. You know, I had to go to school. Before, I didn't really have to go to school because my mom didn't care. You know, so I hated it at first. It was tough. Change is hard. It's not supposed to be easy. But then after a while, I looked at my dad and I was like, dang, you know, he wakes up every morning stress-free. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder. My stepmom wakes up every morning stress-free. She doesn't have to look over her shoulder. We live in a nice house. They take care of us. My dad loves what he does. And I'm like, man, they're just stress-free. They got good money. They're successful. What are two things that they had? Can somebody raise their hand and give me probably something that they had that my mom doesn't have? Education. That was a huge thing. My dad got his master's degree and coached college football. Also had his college degree. My stepmom has her degree and is a high school teacher. And then I realized that school is important. I never liked school, and I still was lazy. So when I was in high school, I was kind of a lazy student. You know, I knew what education could get me, but I wasn't ready to change yet. That's why I had to prop. I didn't qualify for the NCAA and had to go to a smaller school. But anyways, when I was in college, I realized that I went to a smaller school. Not many of my teammates are really going to the NFL. I was good, but I wasn't great. You know, I had a good college career. Hey, I'll see you guys next week. All right. I had a decent college career, but I wasn't NFL bound. So I said, you know what, let me take advantage of this school, work as hard as I could, because I was a competitor. I don't care if we were playing basketball, football. I was in the classroom. I wanted to be the best regardless. I didn't want nobody to beat me. So when I was in the class every day, I caught on to that slant. I was in the front row. I would holler at the teachers every day after class, hey, you know, what can I do to do better? I'm struggling on this paper. Can you help me out? You know, what do I got to do to beat all the other students in this classroom and get better grades? So I competed in the classroom. And then also in life, I'm from Canada. It rains, it's cold, it snows. I'm in Washington. It rains, it's cold, it snows. I had a vision of getting somewhere warm, and I just wanted to try that out. I wanted to live the lifestyle that appealed to me. And because I worked hard in the classroom and got my college degree and connected with the right people and had a certain vision, I took the proper actions to get me to a place where it never rains, it's always sunny, and it's warm. And when Gene Boyd, one of my administrators, said, you know what, this Marcus Walker kid works hard, he knows what's going on, he called Gene Boyd on my behalf because I showed, you know, what I could do. And Gene called me up and said, hey, we got this position open, you want to come work for me, get your master's degree? And I was like, heck yeah, I'm out, peace. I'm going to Arizona. This is what I work for. This is what I want. So now I have this great opportunity with Gene, and I could have just, you know, took it at that and been satisfied that I'm in Arizona. But now I got another vision. I got a family now. I want to be successful. So I'm working with Gene, and every day I get up, and I'm in Gene's office all the time like, hey, you know, what can I do better? How can I improve myself as a professional and an employee to be where he's at? Because where he's at right now is where I want to be. That's my goal in life. He's a senior administrator, athletic director. He's a head honcho at ASU. That's how I see myself as Gene Boyd. But if I don't take the proper action, if I don't talk to Gene Boyd every morning and say, hey, how did you do it? Gene comes from the same place I come from. Gene comes from the same place y'all come from. So I'm taking Gene, he's like a mentor to me, and I'm learning from him. Everything he says to me, I ingrain. You know, hard work. Come a long way, y'all. All right, it ain't easy. It's never going to be easy. Some of you guys might be in situations that are worse than mine. And I applaud you for being here today and overcoming that. But the big time thing is when you walk out this door, if something bad happens tonight, how you going to deal with it? You know? Bad things happen in life. When my brother was killed and my mother went to prison, I was upset. I was mad. But the way I dealt with that situation put me where I'm at today. When bad things happen today, you know, bad things happen all the time to anybody. I'm like, you know what, this ain't the worst that can happen. Let's shake it off, move on, get stuff done. Because I'm about getting things done. And when something hard happens, I'm like, all right, it ain't the end of the world, let's go. And if it is the end of the world, well, shoot, I better get moving so I can make the best out of whatever situation is about to come. And that's one thing, that's about me, that's my story. So I'm going to be joining you guys the next couple of weeks. We're going to have student athletes in here to pour their hearts out to y'all. and they really know what they're talking about. And these guys have been chomping at the bit to come down here and talk. So, consider it, it's big time. All right, so make sure you show up. If you guys got people out in the school who want to join too, bring them along. Bring them along. If they don't like it, they don't have to be here. But just bring them along, because I guarantee when they come, they're going to enjoy it. So anyways, thanks for y'all's time.